Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Signature Edition, the Shredder. Obviously, this is the black and white version, so for those of you who are colorblind, you can enjoy this just as much as everyone else. So that's for you, but it is actually, at least as far as I'm aware, the most stylized comic art type of thing that NECA's done in terms of the paint job, and it is lovely. The figure, not so impressive, we've seen it before, but the paint job is awesome. And we're going to do the full review just like we always do, even though we've seen this body before, it'll just be a little bit quicker. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Oh, I wanted to mention, let me get this in focus. I don't know if you're not going to be able to see as well through the packaging. Yeah, you can see it enough. Look at Shredder's face shape. You can see it right here too. It's got a very triangular look. It comes down to a point there, it tapers down to the jaw, and then comes to a point again. NECA has been rolling with this head sculpt for a long time now. I think it's time, NECA, to give us the pointy one, not the round one. I'm okay with this, but I definitely want this. Give us the bigger shroud, give us the spikier top piece, the crest part, and give us the pointier face, please. Please. And also a little bit of meat wouldn't hurt. You can look in there, you can see he's got a little bit of meat on him. Okay, that's enough. I would like a new classic comic Shredder mold, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary. So we'll do a question of the day. Do you guys prefer, this is going to be not the same question as before. I'm not asking comic versus cartoon. I'm asking colored bandanas versus all red bandanas. Where do you fall? I'm guessing there's no one who prefers the all red look. It's just a horrible idea considering you won't know who you're looking at in certain situations. So I'm all about the colored bananas. Yes, I said bananas. I thought it was funny. I realized it's probably not, but I already said it and I'm not going to edit it. Okay, let's get into the aesthetic on the figure after we do a height measurement. We've seen it before, but we're going to do a height measurement. And yes, I did have the camera zoomed in too far. He is just about to the very top of the head, about 6 3/4 to the very top of where his actual head would be, about 6 3/8 maybe, inside the helmet. That's going to be about, let's say, 16.25 to his actual skull, closer to 17 point something, tiny little increment to the very top of the helmet. Here he is up against Darwin. Whoa, Darwin's excited to see Shredder today. So he's just a little bit above Darwin. I'll say like 1.2 Darwins. He's got a little bit of size on him. Okay, so like I said, sculpt is this. I can't tell for sure because it's so hard to tell what's going on here, but it looks to me like it's the exact same sculpt as before everywhere. I'm not noticing anything unique. And hopefully you guys can see this well enough. It's weird when you have solid white against solid black because you need both bright lighting and dark lighting in order for it to look good, which means it's somewhere in the middle, and hopefully that works. But it looks like the same sculpt to me, and I love the paint job. Is it absolutely completely perfect? No, there's a little bit of smudging here and there, but like the tiniest little bit, and otherwise it is clean as heck. Look at this. It's so clean. The black is nice and opaque. Like, it's easy to do black, but still, the white is not dirty in most places. It's really nicely done. It looks great. The eyes are nice and clean in there. The line work throughout all of the paint job. This is by far the best figure that I've seen painted like this. I can't think of another one that has this sort of paint job, that has this much of it, and is executed this well. It is really, really clean. Much darker on the back than the front. It's nice, and it's not symmetrical at all. Like, you can see more shading over here, more shading here, which doesn't quite make sense because you would have a light source anyway. It looks nice. They're not. It's different everywhere. It looks really, really good. I love it. If you're into this sort of thing, it's 9.9 out of 10. Like, yes, it's not technically perfect everywhere, but it's, as far as you can expect for this kind of price point, it's practically perfect. Virtually, practically, whatever you want. Not technically or literally for all of you people who say literally. Okay, let's talk about accessories. We have the 2 fist hands that come on in the package. We have 2 gripping hands. I did have to heat them to move the hinges in the wrists. I did that ahead of time because I wanted to be able to pose him for the photos at the end. But yeah, his wrists were too tight, but heating them just a little bit made them super easy to work. So we get those hands. Then you do get his bow and arrow, and both are very nicely done. They don't have a ton of black on them, but you can see on the fins on the arrow, they're not fins, they're called fletching, I believe. Very clean line work. The arrowhead itself, Nice line work. The bow has a little bit of line work on there, and I have to tell you, I'm going to do this in person so you can actually see. It's flexible. Don't go nuts with it because it's still just plastic and rope, but the rope is nice and taut, and the bow does flex enough, like more than enough. And this technically does have the, what is it called, a knock? I think it's called a knock in the back of the arrow. I don't know, I'm not an archery person, but I've heard the terms when I was watching like Top Shot and stuff like that. Anyway, it technically doesn't fit perfectly in there, but it'll hold it in place enough that if you wanted to, I can't do it on camera right now, I can't see what I'm doing, but if you wanted to use this like a little army man, it definitely has some get up and go in it, so that's pretty cool. And then lastly we have a, well, it would be a comma if it just had the top part, but it has the chain, so I believe it is called a kusarigama. But nice silver paint on there with a little bit of black line work on the handle part, metal chain. That's a pretty cool accessory, and that's it, not a ton. So I'll give the accessories a 7 out of 10. Nothing crazy here. You could go 8. I'll go 8. I'll go 8 out of 10. Nothing crazy, but definitely good enough. Man, could we get a pointy helmet, please? I want the pointy version. That'd be so cool. Okay, let's talk articulation. Definitely not going to be the strong suit for this gorgeous looking figure. Couple of ball pegs. Ball peg in the neck, ball peg in the, well, in the top of the neck for the head, and then in the bottom for the neck. Wait, no, that's the swivel hinge. That's right, this is an older mold. Swivel hinge in the neck, so it leans forward and back, and then it will rotate, but that's kind of a pain in the butt to do. But anyway, you can move the head enough. It'll be fine, because you do have your ball pegs at the top. Shoulder pads are connected to the torso, very firmly, I might add, so they're not getting out of the way too much. You get your rotation here out of the ball hinge shoulder. I wouldn't go too far because, like I said, you don't really want to force these. So technically you can force them more, but I'm not going to. You get your hinge, which doesn't go quite up to horizontal, but it's pretty far. What did I review the other day that had the same body that didn't have any range? Oh, Casey Jones. Not the same body, but I think it's the same upper arms and shoulders. All right, so yeah, the arms work not well. And you definitely need to do some warming if you really want to flex the range on these limbs. NECA is basically the warm after opening brand, which I don't hate. It's fine. Like I said, I'd rather deal with problems like that. I said this a long time ago, but I'd rather deal with those kind of problems and have an awesome product than have a lower quality product that I don't need to do anything to because it's still just not as good at the end of the day. So that's okay. Bicep swivel is very tight on mine, but you do get your standard bicep swivel. Both of them are very tight, so warming will be a good idea. Be very careful though for that kind of thing. That's an easy thing to tear, that peg. Double jointed elbow works no problem at all. A little bit better than 90 degrees, could have better range. The wrists do not rotate, so the shredder fins, the gauntlet pieces, they're going to be staying right where they are. No rotation there. You do get your wrist swivel and hinge. Gripping hands have a horizontal hinge. That's a bit of a bummer. Waist twist is fine. This is a flexible piece and it's split, so the ball pegged hips should have plenty of range. Yeah, and they're not loose either, so that's good. So they go all the way out to the side, basically. That's nice. Going forward, ooh, there's a little bit of tightness in there. That's somewhat concerning, but also welcomed because we've had a lot of loose-hipped shredders. Not the best range going forward, but it's probably enough. Going back, you get a little bit, so that's okay. You do get a thigh swivel, other than the ball, but you get that ball and the actual thigh swivel, so that's okay. Double jointed knees work wonderfully. They're carved out properly, so that's cool. Like that. You do get a boot swivel. That one's stuck, and that one's stuck. Still a few stuck joints. It's a NECA product. That's gonna happen. I'm just okay with it, I guess. If you're not, I told you about it, so now you know. Ankles go all the way back. That's very nice. These are not the ball pegged ankles that we originally saw on the first shredder they did. They don't go forward as far as I would like. You might be able to squeeze a little bit more out of there, but not much. You do get an ankle rocker, which is pretty decent, especially given that there's a swivel in here. That ankle rocker is going to be perfect, so that's awesome. Toe hinge is perfectly sculpted and well placed, and you only get a little bit of range out of it, and it's not so tight, but it does look good at least, so there is that. So yeah, like I said, articulation's not great. I'll give it a 7 once you loosen it up, a 5 if you don't, but it's going to be okay. You'll be able to pose it well enough even if you don't loosen it up, but if you do, you should be just fine. So now it's time for the final verdict. It looks gorgeous. It's worth it just for that. I love the way this looks. This is going to stand out on a shelf for sure. So pick it up just for that, and I'll give it a final rating of, I'm only going to do 8 because the articulation does pull it back. It does have limited accessories, so I can't just gush and gush. I have to be realistic here. It's not that incredible of an actual release, but the paint job alone is incredible, and I do think that is the major selling point. And of course, you can disagree with me. You're allowed to do that, and you can tell me if you want to in the comment section below, but I have given you everything I can information-wise and opinion-wise, so now you know. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.